What made you lose respect for someone? When someone tells me they don't read. I get it when you're in school and reading upwards of 400 pages a week, at least I was. But once you're out, you don't read. I don't respect your opinion on almost anything. I won't insult you or deride you, I just won't trust you at your word. There are far too many examples over the past 4 to 5 years, but they all have a central thread to them. If you know, you know. Deleted. He slept with someone under his leadership. She was married. He lost his job. Total loss of respect. Having a celebrity crush. I had a friend whose dad paid for her college degree, housing, credit cards, car, and then eventually got her a job in his buddy's company, and then he bought her a house. That's fine, whatever, lucky her. But then she would make disparaging remarks about people with debt, and that I just can't handle. When lie without any reason, like cancel a plan or make a fake excuse, and then I find out the truth, you can always said you don't wanna hang out, I'm good with it. I'm named after my uncle, a now retired cop. Growing up he was one of my heroes. Now he spends his time being racist on Facebook. Did you know Breonna Taylor had it coming? Guy I know has been hanging with a pedo so he can sell him weed. His girlfriend's friends told them about it, and this dude had the nerve to tell me this and act like he didn't know the specifics of the arrest. I know for a fact his girlfriend's friends told them the nitty-gritty, but they don't want to face the truth because they're rushing into a marriage and want to protect their image and make more money off said pedo. Cold world. They believed Donald Trump was the second coming of Jesus Christ. Someone used my father's abuse against me when I got upset with them about a completely different matter. And I quote, "Just because you and your dad fought doesn't mean you get to be a bitch." Dropped them like a sandwich from the roof of a building and never looked back even when they begged me to. Nothing right can come out of a person like that. Edit, I recalled it wrong, but yeah. Still an asshole. Having no work ethic. Instantly does it for me. A former friend of mine at school, I hadn't known her for too long at this point, but she was basically the only person I could spend time with in class. Spent a whole week. 1. Insulting / making fun of my then boyfriend behind his back when I was around. 2. And much worse, making jokes about, making fun of, belittling and indirectly blaming me for a traumatic incident that she was one of very few people knowing about. We were 16 at the time. She did both again and again, especially the second. We had an argument after that, still ended up hanging around pretty much all the time in the following school years. I never trusted her again, but she was the only person in my year I could spend time with more than just occasionally. She didn't really have anyone else either. The contact broke pretty much directly after graduating. BTW, she was also regularly cheating on her boyfriends. In the middle of a global pandemic, while I was undergoing cancer treatments, my husband threw me out of the house I helped build, and my best girlfriend decided to comfort him in his time of need. I have several words of the 4-letter variety to describe both of them, but I don't want to get banned. When they told me that the South gets a bad rap for the Civil War, my health was bad, it was very hard for me to work, and my husband promised he would get a part-time job to supplement the part-time job he already had, so I could work less hours. He made a show of going to networking meetings, but he only ever put out 14 resumes. He quit the fake trying eventually, stringing me along the whole time. I realized I was alone. I got a higher paying job and some better doctors. And I divorced him. Co-worker that I work retail with. She has always been kind of a bitch in the sense that she has a my way or the highway attitude. She also loved cutting line in front of the rest of the co-workers to get to a workstation to crush cardboard in the cardboard compactor. I still kinda respected her and still chose to see her as being kinda dumb. She was diagnosed with COVID on a Tuesday. She came in to pick up medications and food the next day. She could have called family, called a co-worker, Instacart, hell even called up the bosses and asked her to leave her stuff on the curb. She would rather risk everyone else's health and life because she was too arrogant to ask help. Yeah, no. She's dead to me. When he told me homosexuality is a disease. Had a discussion with a neighbor. Pretty casual. I said, I think that. And he didn't miss a beat, saying, I don't care what you think. My dad treated me and my siblings like crap at home. I thought it was normal till about 13. I then was allowed to have sleepovers. The parents at their houses were so much better than mine. When they exchange ethics for personal gain. Treating what they do wrong as a no big deal. Vibe check. She would print out ultrasounds that she'd find online, and present them to guys with whom she had hooked up and all of whom she met in bars just off the local military base. She purposely targeted the younger military guys because, more often than not, they would just give her the money for the abortion. I only hung out with her a couple times, but that's all it took. Treating others disrespectfully and having no backbone. Those two things bother me and I lose all respect. He started defending pedophilia and claiming that pedophilia is a kind of OCD, and eventually was arrested for raping 2 kids. Edit, please look in the below comments, you'll see what I mean. POCD is another way that pedophiles try to hide from authorities by admitting their feelings are wrong, and claiming they're scared of it, which leads them to being seen as a victim so they aren't viewed as a predator. It works well until they actually molest a child, then they turn to other forms of manipulation. They're the same as the predators who claim they're minor-attracted people. Same pedophiles, new names. Them lying. Found out they support Trump. He broke up with his girlfriend, then proceeded to hit her a few times, knock her phone out of her hand, throw her through a glass cabinet, and beat her unconscious while she lay in broken glass screaming for him to stop. He walked into the police station with her blood drying on his hands, saying he thought he killed her. It being his first offense plus his family's high-priced lawyer resulted in him being sentenced to only 1 year of probation and a restraining order. During that year, he violated the restraining order multiple times, assaulted his ex-GF twice, choking her unconscious once, and raped her once. There were no legal consequences for these actions. I used to travel as part of my job. Sometimes I would check into a hotel and be behind a co-worker in line. I was often amazed at how rude they treated the front desk clerk. There's no coming back from that for me. My childhood friend is now overly political and has no nuance on any situation. Still kinda friends with them, but gosh dang, I hate people who just spout their beliefs like they're on some moral high ground. Repeatedly cheating on his wife with hookers. Laughing about disabled people. They became Trumpers. Bragging about cheating on their spouse. When I see them preaching about equality and rights and whatnot on social media, joining all trends, but when they deal with people in the real world they reflect a totally different attitude from the rehearsed lines of what they preach on the media. Not necessarily assholes, just not aware of their own cognitive bias but refuse to acknowledge it whenever feedback is provided. Share if you think 9/11 was an inside job. The usual lying, cheating and stealing. Used to have a friend who didn't respect different people's cultures. They would misuse Japanese labels and when I would try to correct them they didn't care. They would also make fun of things like how some people eat fried crickets. Being from many different countries and having traveled a lot, this was a major red flag. When they said Saturday night is the best night of the week, Normzine. Something about how he said it made me think of him as oh, fuck, it's a Chad in the wild. When my co-worker told me that his 2 kids were not vaccinated for anything. Their disrespect for me, specifically after pleading not to do something disrespectful to me. They fell into the category of extreme narcissist or liar or both, and many great friends of mine are no longer friends at all. X threw his trash on the ground of a parking lot. When I asked him to not do that he replied that the world was doomed already anyways, everyone else was doing it, and climate change wasn't real. Relationship didn't last long. Also told me to make a big deal at restaurants if I don't get exactly what I want because that's what they are here for. My best friend of 17 years lying to my face. even when they didn't have to, and we've built a long-standing reputation of being brutally honest with each other. My rich roommate being a part of multiple hit and runs. They were fender benders, but still. You'd be mad if someone did it to you, not to mention it's illegal.